Good evening, friends. Welcome to Virtual Poetic License. My name is Donna Scheer. Alice Kachemba, who originated this monthly open mic series, she's taking some time off, and I'm delighted to fill in for her, although I'm gonna miss her dearly. This open mic features original poetry, solo acoustic music, story, and spoken word performance. Special thanks to Andrew Richards for guiding us through this new virtual format. And thank you, FCTV. You provide us with timely and accurate information, particularly gifting us with the information about COVID. Ton of cooling programming. FCTV Cares includes a weekly unrecorded community conversation with Deborah Rogers. Sharing our stories, people send in 2-minute videos and they're submitted to FCTV and shown. There's also a business roundtable hosted by Troy Clarkson that explores our local businesses and how they're responding to the economic challenges of COVID-19. In addition to supporting FCTV financially as you're able, please think about becoming a member. Such nice, welcoming people here, and there's always tons of activities going on. All right, superstars who are here tonight. Andrew gave us a sign up of the order in which we will perform. When I read your name, your mic will be unmuted, and then you read or perform for a 4-minute time slot. Andrew's going to keep track of the time. And then the edited performances will be shown on FCTV's channel 13, as well as YouTube. So don't worry about any mistakes you might make. Andrew will abracadabra them away when he edits the show. When it's your turn, please say your name before you begin. And let us know if this is your first time at Poetic License so we can cheer you on. I know we have one new friend here tonight. I'm going to read first, and then I will close the evening. Again, my name is Donna Scheer. I am a jazz singer, a former kindergarten teacher, and a poet. But I'm also a painter. And the poem I'm going to start off with describes a painting I did about 25 years ago. I created it in a class with the marvelous artist teacher, Kathy Zen Twombly, who has left us, unfortunately. Anyway, she kept watching what I was trying to create. And she finally said, "Donna, you're going to need a bigger canvas." So I ended up, the final painting was 6 feet by 5.5 feet. And this poem that describes the painting is called Chiaroscuro Twins. Chiaroscuro Twins. History demands a black background for the inner child on the canvas portrait. Tears drip eye to chin, smear her face. She hangs suspended, lonely as an owl howl hunched in a thunderstorm. The lost twin, whose only sin was birth. Climbing over the black onto birthday party pink, the other child began to dance, frantic for her mother, who stares off the darkened edge. Stars, occasional thunder cracks poke through the underpainting. A riot of flowers impression the border. Her skirt orbits titanium whirls. Feet, snow white cuffs, patent leather clad, stomp so vividly the painting trembles. Loosening the pigment, mother brushes off her contagious joy. At the center, a miniature photograph of a toddler solo holding hands with herself, like a Siamese twin joined at the heart. All right. Next, we have our friend Joyce Wilson.
Okay, I'm unmuted, right? You can hear me. Okay. Yes, I come to poetry a little bit through academia. I've taught at Suffolk and at Boston University, and I have edited a website, The Poetry Porch, at www.poetryporch.com. I've spent a lot of time in Falmouth, and I want to read poems tonight having to do with my daughter who is with me. She brought her children, so I'm spending a lot of time with my grandchildren these 2 weeks, which is just wonderful because we can't go anywhere, and I just have every minute to spend with them. It's just great. So I want to begin reading a poem about my daughter's tattoo. Her tattoo. A conversation piece, it draws in strangers at parties, on the subway. She tells them sweetly where she had it done, how much it didn't hurt, what it cost. This perennial blue wreath of flowers around her ankle like an amulet makes her the envy of her peers, who praise the artist's handiwork, petals and garlands without roots, etched like a scar into the surface of her flesh, as if to announce, there will be no dialogue. This is the person I am becoming. Regard the adornment of my pain. We went to New Hampshire, where it's legal, August 1992, my 16th year, $80. It was not your money. Tracy drove, it was her idea. Then she chickened out. Beneath the ornate exterior, a message to me, a sign like a change of name or address. Does it put me in my place, a mother discharged? All this in my face, daring me to express disgust. I say I'll pay the bill if she ever decides she wants a skin graft. And this is from, the poems I'm reading tonight are from my book, Take and Receive, which came out a year ago. And there have been a lot of commencements, a lot of talk about commencements. So I wrote this one. I thought I would read this one that I wrote about her commencement. Commencement. She graduates triumphant, proud to win. We crane our necks and snap her photograph. And here I want to emphasize begin, although the day is at its end. We laugh. We laugh as though, through simple force of will, she might escape the lessons of her fate, as if, because of years she spent at school, all future tragedies will have to wait. I swallow sorrow as I scan the sky and memorize the day as in a book, admitting that I see a sweet goodbye recorded in the photos that we took. And then this is a poem I wrote after she gave birth to her first child. It's called With Three Graces. And I found three graces I wasn't familiar with, probably on Wikipedia. There's Aglaia, which is brilliance, Euphrosyne, which is joy, and Thalia, which is the bloom of life. And this is a poem in these many voices. Aglaia. Community of blossoms in a vase, ceremonial ribbon tied and bowed, the helianthus nodding to amaze the blue-eyed grass that morning workers mowed. Euphrosyne. The buttercup of the ranunculus will bounce its hue from petals held to chin. Recall how, as a child, that delighted us. Now with a child, begin this game again. Mother. Or take this colorful geranium with petals like the neck and bill of cranes, a bird like dolphin from Delphin, which means womb in Greek. The roots combine, and take the names. Daughter. The roots define, the names connect the roots. Oh, sit down, mother, twine your amulets with flora of your own garden, the shoots you have arranged of vinca, violets. Mother. Like honeysuckle vines embrace the flowering oregano and thyme, the basils, mints, and bergamot with peach and cherry, apple, almond, pear, and lime. Daughter. If only they all bloomed at once today, but they must bloom in their own time and way. Here, hold the baby. Let me show you how she likes to lie, for I'm the expert now. Thalia. The baby who smiles will bring her family joy. See how her darling infant lips unfurl, a blossom opening for all the world. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joyce.
Thank you.
Awesome. I especially like the one about tattoo. I remember when my daughter got her first tattoo and I freaked out, but
yes, I know. Does she still have it?
She still does. She was a runner, and she got a symbol that was an ancient symbol for power and strength.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's kind of in a hidden place, so it's okay. Thank you, Joyce.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Oh boy, John Jackson. He's got something interesting for us tonight.
Okay, there we go. I'm John Jackson. First off, I wanted to say last month I told in limerick form the story of my week of being really, really sick. Ended up total 3 tests, no COVID, but if it walks like a duck and it coughs like a duck and it's got a fever like a duck, you assume it's the plague. But I'm feeling much better, thank you. A short limerick about waves. The critics and cynics may scoff, but between waves there's always a trough. It'll come back again, but we're still hanging 10 on that first wave we never got off. More limericks of decidedly political bent available on my blog, limericksofprotest.com, but that's not what I want to talk to you about today. What I want to talk to you about today actually has roots in Falmouth. 1995, I was separated from my first wife, and I was spending the weekend with 2 small boys at my mother's in Quisset. My sister was there with her 2 small girls. We had been out, we'd been to the aquarium in Woods Hole, and we'd been to the playground in Woods Hole, and we'd just been generally raising hell. At one point, I heard one of the children say, "Daddy has a something seal." Now, I'm pretty sure that wasn't exactly what was said, but since we'd been to the aquarium, and the Woods Hole Aquarium has usually some harbor seals in the front pool, it came out in my head as Daddy has a harbor seal. Daddy has a harbor seal. Why on earth does Daddy have a harbor seal? Where would he put it? Daddy has a harbor seal. He keeps it in the freezer. Okay, why? Daddy has a harbor seal. He keeps it in the freezer. He keeps it there for Mommy because he thinks that it will please her. Okay, that was pretty dumb. Daddy has a harbor seal. He keeps it in the closet. And if he can't get it back in time, he loses his deposit. Within the space of an hour, I'd written down a dozen crappy little poems about harbor seals. Okay, that's it. Putting it down. I'm not dealing with this anymore. And so I sit down and I pick up a catalog that's lying around at my mother's, and I'm flipping through it, and there's this lawn ornament It's a seal. And it's looking up out of the ground, and it says, "This lovely seal with verdigris patina." Daddy has a harbor seal with verdigris patina. He feeds it lots of anchovies washed down with cheap retsina. Over the next year, I drove just about everyone I knew absolutely bonkers because every day I would come up with a couple more. And my friends at work would come up with more. And my soon-to-be ex-wife got really disturbed. And at one point, she said it was a surrogate for a bit of male anatomy. Now, keeping it rather clean. Daddy has a harbor seal. Mommy thinks that it's a thing. When Dad and the seal think of this, they laugh like two hyenas. My father at one point said, "Stop wasting your time with the seal." And that rather put me in a tailspin for a while, until I repurposed what he was saying into stop wasting his time with the seal. Around this time, I was thinking, these need illustrations. And I talked to my brother, who was a cartoonist in his own right, and said, "Would you like to illustrate these?" And he says, "No, I'm way too busy. Besides, this is your thing. You can draw." Okay, so I started drawing seals and figured out the rules for drawing the seal as a cartoon character. And by this point, years later, I've got a document with maybe 1,000, 1,500 verses of Daddy Has a Harbor Seal. And I'm starting to collect drawings. And I run into a friend who says, "I dare you. I will set it up. I dare you." So I had a website, and I'm going to share a handful of these. One thing I have to say, I've put this into PowerPoint because it's more convenient. The one thing that is sheer poison in any PowerPoint presentation is when the presenter reads every word that's on the slides. I'm sorry, I am going to poison you by reading every word that's on the slides. What I'm asking you instead is to not read the words on the slides, but look at the pictures. Fair enough? Okay. A small sampling of the 1,050 illustrated seals on sealpoet.com. Share, please. Go. Daddy has a harbor seal. He thinks it's quite a lark to keep poor mommy terrified by pretending it's a shark. That was the very first one. Hello. Daddy has a harbor seal. Its back is long and wide. All the kids in the neighborhood use it for a slide. Daddy has a harbor seal to which he is devoted. And to keep it waterproof, he just had it seal coated. Daddy has a harbor seal. It exceeds all Daddy's wishes. It's a charming, fun companion, and it even does the dishes. This was the first one that actually solved the problem of how do you get an anthropomorphic seal to actually stand up when they don't have any feet? Put it behind a counter. Daddy has a harbor seal. He dresses it in nylons and puts it in the parking lot when he runs out of pylons. Daddy has a harbor seal, and it looks really mean before it's had its morning dose of sugar and caffeine. Daddy has a harbor seal. It's really sad. Mom can't tell the difference between the seal and Dad. Daddy has a harbor seal. I'm not sure where to begin. It drinks a lot of martinis. Sound better than it drinks gin. Daddy has a harbor seal, and Mommy has a slug. I think Dad needs an analyst. I'm sure Mom needs a hug. I wrote that from my gardener wife, Mrs. Seal Poet. Daddy has a harbor seal. It should be swimming free, but it's agoraphobic and prefers the pool to the sea. And I believe that is it. Thank you very much for enduring what I have for you today.
Yay! Oh, John, thank you. You did not disappoint.
I try not to anyway. Had I known we had all this time, I would have added many more, but leave some for next week.
Awesome. I want to sit down and write me one of those. Daddy has a harbor seal.
Okay.
I'll send it to you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that Susan Carlson? You're,
Now can you hear me?
now we can, yay.
Alrighty. I have 3 haiku, and the first one is called Flowering. It has a finger play that goes with it that's good for kids. So I'm going to read it once and then read it again with the finger play. Green iris blossoms, blue, brown, amber, hazel, 2, opening to light. Rose-colored lenses smiling. Love finds many colors, 1. So it goes like this. My eyes are green. Green iris blossoms, blue, brown, amber, hazel, 2. Opening to light. Rose-colored lenses smiling. Love finds many colors, 1. And that one goes with the rose-colored glasses. So I was just gonna do a little bit of this song here, and then I've just got 2 other tankas. Can you hear this? Okay. Hold me close and hold me fast. The magic spell you cast. This is the Vian Rose. When you kiss me, heaven sighs, and though I close my eyes, I see the Vian Rose. When you press me to your heart, I'm in a world apart, a world where roses bloom. And when you speak, angels sing from above. Everyday word seems to turn into love song. Give your heart and soul to me, and life will always be love and rose. And the next one is called Birdrise. Symphony of song, echoed whispers raising voice, crescendo awakes, fullness amplifying heart, richness soaking into soul. And I had a similar kind of a nirvana feeling in my chest and in my soul when reacting to a completed poem as I did to that bird song in the early morn that inspired it. So from that was born this last tanka. And in case someone doesn't know what a tanka is, it's similar to haiku, but it has 2 additional lines. And the first 3 lines usually paint a picture, and the last 2 respond to it. And tanka actually means short song. I believe that one might be in Japanese, but I forget. And then there's another language that it means, oh, I forget. I wrote it down, but I can't find it. Anyway, I'll just read this tanka. It's called Recipe. To know when poem's done, heart full of radiant, warm chocolate love pudding, deliciousness can't explain, synchronicity complete, serves all. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad you're here, Susan. And beautiful. I guess I never knew what a tanka was before.
It's my favorite form. I like the short forms because I tend to be very long and long-winded, so it helps me to be concise. But haiku is a little too concise for me, and I just love that extra piece that the tanka has. And of course, I took a little poetic license with that last one, and with all of them really, because I gave them a topic, which is another way of saying a title. You're not supposed to have a title for these, but if it's a topic, sometimes that's permissible in Japan. And when you come to this country, all bets are off with some of these forms. But and then I had added 2 words at the end too to my last one. So that one, again, poetic license. But we're better to do that than here.
That's right. And your language is so rich. You really do paint a picture.
Oh, thank you. Well, that's what it means. That's the other word for tanka, is a painting.
Thank you, Susan. Let's see. Blackbird. Are you going to sing for us? No.
I don't think anyone would like for me to sing. That would be a bad deal. But I have 4 of my poems that I would like to read to you all. And I appreciate you all welcoming me into this group. So the first one is a poem, a homage to my city that I grew up in, Paterson, New Jersey, which is known as the Silk City. The title of the poem is The Silk City's Thread. Cut from the cloth of the Silk City's thread, with no choice but to persevere. A concrete jungle in the garden state, I can still smell the hard ghetto air. I grew up in that concrete jungle, a black bird in an eagle's nest, shielded from the perils of hatred, gauged by the measure of my best. I've looked deep into the eye of the tiger, run away from the force of the storm, the intensity of my focused mind, the shield that protects me from harm. The hyena wears the face of the addict. The corner is the drug dealer's store. As I walk through the journey of manhood, almost forgot the essence of my core. Excuses are stories told by losers. In my chest beats a lion's heart. No need to search for the land of the wizard, because my courage does not come from Oz. When you look into the eye of the blackbird, see the fire that burns in his soul. The spirit strong enough to build empires is more valuable than diamonds and gold. In the jungle, the vultures, they circle, awaiting the death of the weak. But the blackbird is a strong bird, and he always lands on his feet. When he's grounded, he's aware of the snake's hole that lurks behind the door of success. The path towards the righteous and evil is at the crossroads of better and best. The next one is titled Deadly is My Pen. Many fear my physical side, and my eyes, they're afraid to look in. They only see a big black man, but most deadly is my pen. With my pen, I can cause unseen scars. I can heal with that same pen. So fear not the gun, but the bullets that shoot. Fear not the writer, but be aware of his pen. With my pen, I can take you on a journey of growth to a place where the sadness ends. In my hand is the tool you should fear the most. Thoughts come alive at the tip of my pen. Through metaphor and simile, hidden truths are revealed. Interpretation shows a way within. The mind of the writer, a place of utopia, and your ticket is my pen. Poisonous venom spewed, touching thoughts of wisdom, both born of many great men. Opposite products that have moved the masses, both born of a writer's pen. It can silently kill you through thoughts that it caused. For verbs, I use action words. With a pen, wars have ended, fictional stories pretended, and the masses have been moved like herds. As they dance to the rhythm from the lead of my pencil, characters like alphabet soup. Words are the ammo, and the lead is my pencil. My pen is the gun that I shoot. Take heed to my warning when I start brainstorming. Be careful not to offend. Fear not the gun, but the bullets it shoots. Fear not the writer, but watch his pen. I was asked if I I wasn't going to read this one, but I was asked if I wrote anything about coaching or competing. So I decided to include this one. This poem that I titled Game Time. The whistle is blown, a signal of start. I will fight to the end of this day. A brave, courageous, disciplined warrior, the traits I have come to display. An animal lurks inside my mind when I step within those lines. A long time I've prepared for this time to get here. It is here that I will be defined. My place of refuge, serenity, and peace. It is here where my soul comes to rest. Millions will watch, but few will see. In my mind, the invisible contest. My heart rate increase as the beast is unleashed. I must hunt till there is no more time. I will leave my soul here through blood, sweat, and tears. No fear, because this is game time. And my final one is titled, What Are We Racing For? They claim justice is blind. She must be, because she can't see me. If you can't hear the cry of injustice, then you can't know what justice be. With fists raised, I'm showing frustration, like Carlos and Smith did before. In this game, we are racing for nothing. I can count, but I don't keep score. Learn to know me before you cast judgment. Even then, think before you cast blame. Every story you hear is two-sided. Beware of the source where it came. Benevolence takes residence in my heart, and I give love to all that I meet. If I feel you are worth my remembering, in my mind, thoughts of you I will keep. Every day I meet people who are different. I appreciate those differences they have. If you can't see more than my features, is your loss, and I think that is sad. Strange fruits once hung from trees. The pictures still haunt my mind. To forget will be unjust. To relive it is also a crime. From the past, we can learn to heal. From wounds, there will always be scars. The horrors of hate is my enemy. Trap love down deep in your heart. When you look, see the man through his actions. When you listen, hear the cry of one's pain. When you think, may it be clear of hatred. When you act, may it not cause shame. A man can learn from a child because a child's heart is always pure. We learn and teach who we are. So I ask, what are we racing for? Thank you.
Oh, yay. Well, that was so powerful, Blackbird. I think we're pretty blessed that you found your way back to Cape Cod for us. Thank you. I hope you come back again.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate each and every one of you.
Thank you. Marie's here. Marie Blackburn.
When you said Blackburn, I thought you were calling me. So what do they call you, Blackbird?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought you were calling me and you asked me to sing and I'm like, oh no. So I just wanted you writers to know I have a page on Facebook that I started recently called Let Me Tell You a Story. And it's got a lot of traction and now it's a live show as well. So if anybody wants to write about racism or injustice that they experience or somebody they know, it's beautiful stories and it's really good. So just so you know. I'm going to read a poem called Are You Listening? So I have no rhyme or reason. I just write, what I feel. And this is called Are You Listening? Are you listening? Tears have no sound as they pour down the cheeks of the brokenhearted. Are you listening? Despair is silent as we mourn the loss of the dearly departed. Are you listening to the sounds of your anger, opinions wrapped around a flag, the position of those afflicted, silenced by, oh say can you see? Are you listening? Are you listening to your language, unrecognizable words spoken by adults? Your children are, and it will come out. They are listening, and it will be heard. Are you listening? The falsehoods that you're spreading each day. History records it a very different way. Are you listening to the messages designed to divide? You hear it with your ears and you see it with your eyes. But the anger and fear that exist in you has you turned a blind eye and you justify. Fact-checking inconveniences you. You have something to say and something to prove. Are you listening? Are you listening when you provoke my race, who's not on your radar until it's time to debate? Who works? Who's lazy? Who braids their hair? Who fought for this country on bended knee while crying out to God to be set free? All while being called nigger. I bet you heard that. Are you listening to the sounds of my heartbeat as I lay in my bed, waiting for the phone to ring to tell me my loved one is locked up or dead? God is listening and he hears my cry. His promises are yes and amen, and no good thing will he deny. God is listening and watching from afar. He wants to bless us and heal our great divide. Oh, listen to our cry, dear Lord. Oh, listen to our cry. That's it. I'm going to read one called The One, and then I'm going to get off. Okay, so this is called The One. I have people blowing my phone up. How do you think it feels to be the one whose turn it is to be shunned? Negative attention called to your name, causing your children to bow their heads in shame, to be said that you are the blame for all crime, poverty, and pain. How do you think it feels to be the one to have your religious beliefs mocked and shunned, your women laughed at and feared because of modesty and covering their hair? How do you think it feels to be the one who sleeps with one eye open until they hear from their son, not knowing if today he'll be the one because he was holding something that may have looked like a gun, or shot in the back because he dared to run? How do you think it feels to love the one you're with, knowing that love is the one true gift, but told your love is oh so wrong, so you hide in the closet and try to be strong until one day you pass away because no one heard you when you tried to say, God made me this way? How do you think it feels to be the one, differently abled, not smart, fast, tall, or fair, treated like a mascot or like you're not there, when all you want is to be a part and to have friends who love you and share your heart and dance and listen to music like normal friends do, so you find a safe place with people like you? How do you think it feels to be turned away from the shores of liberty with your children in tow and told your very existence is illegal and that you have to go? But before you leave, we'll take your children away because fear is looming and someone has to pay. It's your turn to be the one who people blame, mock, and shun, and build a wall to keep away. How do you think it feels to be the one? That's it.
Thank you, Marie. Thank you so much. I love your use of anaphora, the repetition. It just hones us right into the road that you're taking in the poems. So beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see, Patricia. Andrew? Okay.
Okay, I'm there. I think I did it. Did I?
Yes, you did.
All right. Well, this is such a amazing evening. Thank you very much, all of you. I was going to do something, I'm debating whether I'm going to do something else, but okay, I'm just going to do what I was going to do. And this is a poem that actually, in all the hoo-ha that's going on in every direction you can look, all the chaos, all the confusion, all the let's deflect this for that, etc. We're forgetting as well that we have another crisis, not just COVID and all the other crises in and around us, but we have an environmental crisis as well. And we're being sort of steered away from that. And so much is being done behind the scenes right now that's decimating protections to the environment, including the Endangered Species Act that has been basically destroyed. And I think we need to remember that we have a problem remembering this. And so here's the thought. Galileo, a name we all know, brave, brilliant, scientist, astronomer, defining our celestial moniker. He said respectfully to humanity, things are not as they appear to be. There are things you ought to know. The sun does not revolve around us. We revolve around the sun, along with other solar planets, of which we are one. To which humanity, not so respectfully, replied, nay, 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 it cannot be that way. We know who we are and what we see. We look out the window. Here comes the sun. There goes the sun, as it has always done, as it will always be. We are the center of the universe. We know so by the church decree. And the church chimed in. Heretic. You, sir, do not understand God. We are the center of the universe. He would not have created us any other way. We think you should go to jail and stay there till you die. Goodbye. And so he did. Oh, well, today Galileo is known as the father of modern science. All of the learned among us function from beneath his shadow. The doctors, professors, teachers, scientists are all saying respectfully to humanity, things are not as they appear to be. There are things you ought to know. The climate is changing at our hand. Time is running out. We must take a stand. To which humanity, not so respectfully, is replying, nay, 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 it can't be that way. The climate isn't changing. It's just a stretch of bad weather. To quote one protester, railing against professors, placard in one hand, gun in the other, we don't need no education. What we need is less regulation. We need buildings, not trees. We need infrastructure, not bees. We would throw you all in jail, but the lawyers and the liberals would prevail. We wish that you would go away and die. So we shall, and so shall you. In Galileo's time, there was plenty of time for humanity to catch up with what he knew. In our time, we're running out of time. The climate is changing, but some things never do. Oh well, goodbye.
Thank you, Patricia. Yes, we shouldn't forget about climate change. My gosh, the times we're living in. It's almost too much. But thank you. I'm going to close with my second poem, and then I have a couple of closing announcements. There's a trend going on right now because the virus is with us, and so many people find themselves worrying about it during the daylight hours. But then we've got the worrying about it at nighttime too. People try to cope. Sometimes people dream. They're called COVID dreams. I guess it's a thing right now. Anyway, this is my dream poem, and it's called The Corona 500. And it starts off, the epigraph is from a Robert Johnson song, 1936. Went to the crossroads, fell down on my knees. Never-ending nights, these same fear-drunk dreams, despite the handful of Guatemalan worry dolls beneath my pillow. One for the sleepless children, one for the health of my kith and kin, one with the prayer I won't die alone. Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines. Night after night, I race my jalopy, high anxiety, until a slow hole empties the gas tank. Insidious virus rides my bumper. All the traffic lights stuck on red. I am the siren wailing, mercy! Insidious and his flame boys devil my doors as we head for the Delta crossroads, highways 49 and 61. Hell hogs rev and idle, spewing smoke and high-test doom. In lane number 1, the headless horseman. In lane number 2, the suicide jockey. In the third lane, ghost riding the whip. And in the far lane, it's dragging her wagon. Before the checkered flag, before the final lap, I faint, I lead-foot it and veer off. Roll the windows down. Turn the radio up. Belt along with the song I find myself singing. That's my COVID ode.
Donna, we have a request for one more short poem from Susan, okay?
Okay, Susan.
Can you hear me now? I may have read this one before, but I just felt like I wanted to read it again tonight. It's called Inside Borders. We live on the border of understanding and misunderstanding, standing for something and being buried under it, of have and have not, of existing and living, of life and spirit, of judgment and discernment, of anger and passion, of self-care and compassion. It is not a well-defined border. It is fluid, open, and dynamic. That is where we live. It would seem not to be solid ground upon which to build a stable and lasting home for our hearts. Yet it is infinite in its potential for growth, power, and love, humility, and responsibility to live here too and flourish. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Lovely to end on that. Want to thank everybody for your participation tonight. We'd love to have your feedback. You can email Andrew at fctv.org, and we want to know what you think. If you have any suggestions, what you like about the format. Our next poetic license will be on Thursday, July 23rd. Thank you again, Andrew. Bravo, performers. We are ever so grateful that you joined us. Please be well.